Welcome to another one of my favorite trainings and therefore also my favorite videos to make. I built a course, a parcours, and this one is all in the theme of proprioception. I'm gonna get Lindy with the mud, especially on the track. Lindy really goes everyone for himself or theirselves. So I am sometimes very afraid of my toes when she is just going full survival mode and trying to get through the mud. Aslan is very mindful about where I am, where my feet are. I can just say shh and he will slow down, stay behind me. I can just talk to him with my words and say, Aslan, wait a minute, give me a sec. And he will stand still behind me and I can drag my feet out of the mud again when I need to. With Lindy, she doesn't do that yet. And that is not because she doesn't care about my toes. That's not because she's a bad horse. That mostly just means that she doesn't have the balance because, of course, when you're trying to go through that mud, especially when you have four legs, not like us, we have to go very slowly. But with horses, they prefer to go really fast so that they'll be done with it and they have that balance because they have four legs. But really, they don't really have that balance that well because they're just rushing through it. So you can't really ask a horse when she's going like, to stand still for a sec, because then she has to go from that whole moving forward and having her whole body towards the front to ask her to shift it back to stand still in a split second, where Aslan just moves very slowly in my pace with me, so it's very easy for him to stand still in a second. It's very difficult for Lindy. So it has to do with balance, and it also has to do with proprioception, which is the ability to know where you put your feet and know what's under your feet. So for example, a lot of horses trip over poles like these. That is just one thing of a problem. Or they trip on trail rides, or they hurt themselves on a branch somewhere because they just don't look at where they're going. They're not mindful of the ground and what's on it at all. So I have I've built a course, and I'll get Lindy and then we'll talk you through it. These are all very simple things. Of course, not everyone has a ball. Of course, not everyone has those noodles. They're very cheap, you can buy them. These are just normal fencing poles that I sawed off the point. This thicker one used to be in the ground, but it broke off. And the cones are like €2. The orange ones are €2 and the blue and green ones are. So it's really, you don't need all fancy things to work on the proprioception of your horse. So even if you don't have poles already, if you don't have cones already, I think you could buy this course minus the ball for like €10. That's it. The ball was, I think, maybe €30. The noodles were a gift, so this is very achievable for you to try at your own barn. And that's what I'm all about, of course, is to inspire you with things you can do with your own horse. And these are just a few things. Even if you only have 4 cones at your barn, you'll be able to do the exercise that I'm going to try with Lindy in there. So don't worry. I'm going to go get her. Here we are. Just a quick reminder, Lindy hates being touched or brushed. So she's very dirty. You're not interested? Oh, you want to drink from the puddle. Yes. Okay. So with the 4 poles, the goal is just for her to walk over it. I can do it in 8. I can just do it in a circle. You could even lunge your horse over this. For today, my goal is to just do some work in hand. But let's see if she's gonna touch the poles, if she's gonna be mindful about where her feet are. She is very mindful because she knows how to walk around it. Good girl. Very wet mouth from the drinking. Thank you. Oh, it's okay. So let's see if we can also back her up. This is a more advanced exercise. Backing up is difficult for a lot of horses because of back problems, but it's also about trust because she can't really see it that well now. She might not even be aware that there is a pole now, even though she just stepped over it. So let's see if she's gonna be able to step over it backwards. You can already see that she's tuning out, which is showing that this is difficult for her. She's like, no, we cannot do this. Go. Yeah. And that is a clear sign that this is not a possibility for her right now. So we can work towards that in the next couple trainings. But that is already a sign that she's not aware of her surroundings. She doesn't trust her own ability to know where everything is. And she doesn't really trust me with that either yet. Because she's like, well, I don't know where I'm gonna step onto. Good girl. So let's just go there again. And make a little turn. Yeah, you see that was already difficult. Good girl, you're figuring it out. And it's not bad that she touches it or that she trips over it, because everything she does wrong, she can learn from that. So she's actually doing really well. You can see it in my older videos that Aslan even knows how to turn on this with his hind legs in the square or in a pentagon or in a triangle, and his front legs out of it and then leg yield in it. Of course, Lindy hasn't learned that yet, but let's see how far we get. Yeah, I thought so. She's just gonna step out. Good girl. Yes, a reward. You're doing really well. So that is what you can do with the poles. You can also stack them up like Mikado, which you've probably seen before in my videos. But this is already, for Lindy's level, a great start. You can already see that she struggles with it. It's not easy for her. I also want to be able to go through the rest of the course. So I'm not gonna challenge her too much with the exercises. We're also not gonna do it for too long, because I want it to be a positive experience. I don't want to go over her boundaries. I want it to be and stay fun for her, because that's basically why I love building courses so much. It's basically just a playground for horses. Good girl. So she is looking, I think, for water. Yes. So with the green and blue cones, I just want her to walk in between that. Sounds simple, but it can already be very hard for horses. So you can already see that she was going all kinds of directions. Good job. And then what I would like to do next is to see if she can also be parked in there. So we're gonna make a loop. Yes, you didn't touch it. Smart. And good girl. Small steps so that you're actually... Good job. So you're actually in the square. And of course you can make this harder by putting the cones closer to each other. You can also do this with 2 poles on each side and try to narrow it down to more and more and more. But that is more advanced stuff. I can do that with Aslan, but Lindy's not there yet. So already this is her learning, okay, where are those cones? How can I make sure I don't touch them? Very simple, very beginner stuff, but that's where we are. What do you want to do now? Want to go try the zigzag? Yeah, more cones. So this is already a more difficult exercise, but it also depends on how far you put the cones away from each other. I placed 2 steps between the cones. You can already see she's struggling, not really sure where to walk, already knocking over a cone. But I'm still gonna reward because she's engaged with me, she's doing it, she's trying to zigzag, trying to find her way, so it's actually going really well. What you can do when you're doing this for the first time, or you can see that your horse is struggling with it, is take a little lap in between. Yes. Just to give them a break. Good girl. Good girl. Let's try it again. Yeah, she's licking and chewing a lot. Oh. Yeah. Gonna take the lead. And I just steer with my hand. I guide. I don't pull. I want her to let me guide her as well with this. Let me help her. I'm not forcing her in any way. You could see that with the other exercises as well. I'm not pulling. I'm not helping. This is a skill that she has to develop. She has to learn. So if I'm gonna pull and drag too much, she's not gonna be able to learn. She's not gonna be able to do it alone. Yes, sweetheart. Lynn, come. So, now she's trying to tune out for a little bit. So we'll just go here in the middle, have a little moment. She can lick my hands. Of course, she's trying to see if there's treats in it, but it's not. We're just gonna stand still for a minute. Because she was trying to drag me away. I wasn't sure if it's on camera. Away from here. So that's a sign that this was already enough for her. This is frustration. You're doing a lot of releases and showing very clearly that this is not easy for her. It looks easy. And of course we can always think, well, she could just do this. It's not that hard. But for her it is hard right now. And all we can do to help her is first accept that this is a difficult exercise. And then we can train it. Yeah, big sigh. Yeah, you got a friend over here who's gonna join us. Yeah, good girl. Okay, let's go look at those cones again. Come on in. So, very loosely, let's see. Good job! Licking and chewing. Taking a water break. And this is also important for learning this. That she still has a voice in, I need a break, I want something. She needs to have that voice. Yeah, good girl. You're doing great. Checking in with me, so that's good. Then it's not too difficult for her to completely lose herself in it. To not want to engage with this and with me anymore. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Finish the zigzag? You want to go where Presto is? Good girl, this is also smart. So we also have the ball. What I want with the ball is for her to kick it, preferably with her feet, because that is what she is mostly not aware of. So what I usually do is I place the ball before their legs. It's also how I taught Aslan to football, to play soccer. And then I'm gonna ask them to walk. And when they touch it, I click and reward. So I'm not rewarding when they kick it or when they push it away. Just a touch for the first time is enough. This is the first time I'm playing soccer with her. Yes. And she is very smart because she wants to go around it. Good job. So she just taps it with her knee. That's it. That's what I'm rewarding. That's already a good girl. Because she is aware of where it is. You can see that she is shifting her weight away of it. Good girl. I couldn't click now because I was talking. Very good. So she's figuring out, can I just hover over it and get some treats? So she's very aware of where that ball is right now. And that is already very good of her. Good girl. And you'll see that some horses are already walking and kicking it. And with her, she's like, well, what if I just... Good girl. What if I just stand still and just lift my knee up sometimes? That's different for all horses. She's doing so well. Good. Now I took it a little step further. Let's see if I could wait a little longer with rewarding. This is very good. Now, I'm very proud of her for this. So I could want to move forward more towards playing soccer or kicking it more. But instead I'm just gonna give it one more try. Good job. And walk away. Yes, because we don't want to push it. We want to do other things as well. I'm gonna take a lap again, a break. And how about those noodles then, Lindy? You gonna turn around me? Good girl. You were blocking my way. So the noodles are just here like that. They can play Mikado with the noodles for today. So she can try to find her way over it, and I can try to guide her in different angles over it. She's very smart because she just blocks my way. And then she doesn't have to go over it. You're very smart. But I can just stand on the other side. Good girl. So she's touching it, but that's not the problem. Because she's still learning. Oh, apparently there was something there. How can I make sure that I see it, or I feel it, or I sense it next time? Yeah, good job. I'm gonna go over the yellow one. Good girl. So also doing this in the little corners that I'm doing right now is also teaching her more about where she puts those feet, how to go at it, because this is a puzzle for her. And she is enjoying this puzzle. You're having fun now? So let's see, to go over the yellow one and the blue one. Yes, and the red one. Yes. Also? Yes, also the last hoof. And you could see that it moved up and she didn't spook around that. She wasn't insecure about that. So that's also already great. So a proprioception course is really anything you can find that they can walk over or puzzle their way through in a very easygoing way. So it doesn't have to be fast, it doesn't have to go well. It's all about learning, and when you learn, you make mistakes. And I'm gonna stop her training here now as well, because she did really well. But I don't want to push it, like I said. So this is a very positive experience. She's learned a lot, she's done a lot. She's still very happy, she's still eager to do more. So I want to stop there. So yeah, find those poles, find those cones, find anything you can use for a fun proprioception course. Of course, it doesn't have to be a course. You can also just put one of these exercises out there and try that with your horse, as long as you both have fun. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.